Hello, this is the fourth and final tutorial in our series on GarageBand Audio Basics. In part 3 of this series, we showed you how to edit a completed song. In this tutorial, we will show you how to share your song with the world outside of GarageBand. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so here is our completed track. First, I would like to give you an overview of your sharing options. Just go up to the GarageBand control panel and click Share. Your first option is you can send the song to iTunes directly out of GarageBand. I'll show you how to do this later. Your next option is you can create a ringtone from your song and send it to iTunes and then have that uploaded to your phone. Your third option is to send this track to the GarageBand media browser, which you can access directly from GarageBand. I will elaborate on this later. You can also export this song directly to SoundCloud if you have a SoundCloud account. SoundCloud is an audio file sharing site. And lastly, you can export this song to disk. This allows you to export the song wherever you would like on a hard drive or a flash drive, and also choose the file type, such as an MP3 or AIFF file. I will elaborate on this later. Okay, let's start by sending the song to iTunes. When you select this, a box will appear in which you will need to fill out the metadata fields such as title, artist, composer. All this information will end up in the iTunes library when the song gets exported. And lastly, you will need to choose the quality of the track. The lowest to highest quality are MP3 files. The lowest quality file is about 64 kilobytes per second versus the highest quality of 256 kilobytes per second. This is a personal preference on your level of sound quality or how much file size you're concerned with taking up on your computer or MP3 player. And your last option is an uncompressed AIFF file, which is the Mac version of a WAV file. It is also the largest file type, so if you're concerned with file space, you might want to reconsider, though it is also the preferred file for professional recording and mastering. Okay, now let's rename our track. I'm going to call it Fingersnap. And for the artist, I'm going to call it DPS, which is short for Digital Publishing Services where I work. And the same thing for the composer, and then for the album title, we'll call it the DPS Lab. Then you can click Share. It will then start processing and exporting this track. As you can see below, the iTunes icon is opening. iTunes will then create a GarageBand playlist on the left panel where you can access your recently exported track. Okay, great. Now let's go on to our next sharing option. Next, I'd like to show you the Export to Media Browser option. The Media Browser allows you to select various types of media such as photos, videos, etc. and add those to the project that you're working on, as well as adding GarageBand songs to a new project. Just click it and it will immediately add that file to a GarageBand folder that exists on your hard drive. After it is finished exporting, you go over to the box on the far right of GarageBand that looks like a camera and a music note, etc. And you'll see there are two options for audio and movies. We're in audio section. As you can see, it brings up the GarageBand folder and also below that the iTunes folder where you can pull media from. If you look at the box below where we have GarageBand selected, you can see our track. It's presently untitled. This can easily be renamed by double-clicking on the title itself. Okay, let's go on to our next sharing option, which is to export to a SoundCloud account. I won't elaborate on this too much, but if you have an account with SoundCloud, it's a great way to share your music. And lastly, I'd like to show you the Export Song to Disk option. After you click on this, you will then be prompted where you would like the file to be stored and what type of file format you would like to choose. You have the option of AAC, which is short for Advanced Audio Coding. It's considered a higher quality version of an MP3 file, yet with the same bitrate. Then you have the MP3 option, which is a compressed audio file. And lastly, you have the AIFF file, which is short for Audio Interchange File Format. It is an uncompressed CD quality audio file used specifically for Mac computers. You have the option for a 16-bit or 24-bit file size. As you can see, 16-bit is fine for CD quality. And then lastly, we're going to rename the file. and we'll do finger snap. Then click export. Now let's just find our file and go ahead and click play. Okay, we have successfully exported and shared a track out of GarageBand. This is the last in a 4-part series on audio basics in GarageBand. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you would like more in-depth information on GarageBand, you can check out lynda.com. If you would like access to lynda.com, you can contact us in the DPS lab, and we can set you up at the Lynda kiosk in the MediaHub. Okay, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video tutorial. If you have any other questions, you can contact us at askalibrarian@lists.providence.edu or at dps@providence.edu. Thank you very much.